that recording?
Hello! Welcome to another episode of the Mindless Show. Hello and welcome to the final episode of the Meyers Show. It's the end, and I have a new phone, and a new shirt, and a new haircut, and everything's new. It's been like 2 months since we last saw. You don't know that. What are you talking about? It's like 5 days. Drop this. The PSA just came out recently. Anyway, so, the Mindless Show. I'm your host, Mr. Mindless. I'm kind of saddened because of it's topic 50. I figured, it's a good number to end on. And of course, to bring it all back together, we have the original co-host, Barry Berry. Yay! He's finally back! I found him! It's like capturing a legendary Pokemon. It's Barry, everyone!
Oh, before we continue, who's Barry Berry? You said he was going to be Mr. Bubbles again.
You're Barry, you've got the hair, got the kind of build.
I don't even know Barry. I've never met this guy before.
Oh, you know Barry, you are Barry. Just here. You do it.
I'm not cheap. Look, if you want to play Barry, I'll play Barry, alright? But enough of this trying to bribe me thing, alright? Let's get this over and done with. Yes, I am Barry.
Barry.
Yes, Barry. Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Mindless. Doesn't exactly know that. Okay, so, the end. What do you think the end means?
Well, the end is a very interesting concept, actually. Can be a very dark concept in many respects. Typically, from a very broad dictionary definition, the end typically indicates something concluding or ceasing.
Yeah.
But it can have many meanings in an odd way.
My favourite end is 2012. That was a great end.
Oh, that was an amazing ending. Sitting there counting down to the end of the world. Oof. Not gonna lie, that was a lot of
Did you
fun.
genuinely believe in 2012 that the world was actually gonna end?
Well, I was 2012, let's see, it's 2017 now, it's about
14, 15?
14 or 15 years old, and I was pretty gullible, so, no, it would have been about 14, 13 actually. Very easily manipulated, especially by my cousin who was perpetuating the myth. So I remember watching 2012 and absolutely shitting myself. And then, 2012 ended and 2013 started, I was like, oh, this ain't half bad.
Oh, what do you know? Those people who believed the world was going to end were wrong. Again!
Well, when did Trump start his campaign again?
Oh, let's not get into the politics of the world. It's 2017. Come on, let's grow up, people. We've only got 4
He
more
ain't
years
that
to deal with
bad.
that
You could have had worse.
We've got 4 more years of that shit. Luckily, we don't live in America, and you don't need to worry. Okay, we might need to worry.
Just
nuclear fallout.
touch wood. But no, he's not that bad. Controversial topic and all. He's not great, but he's not as bad as a lot of people pay him out to be.
I didn't pay for the politics. Now let's get on to how politics could end the world. How could politics end the world?
Very
end of the world. That's pessimistic.
Very interesting topic to talk about, the whole idea of politics ending the world and such. When you talk about that, you often think about either World War III, an economic crash, that kind of thing, or running out of natural resources, that kind of thing. It's just, yes, it's a very scary topic. It could happen at any point in time. It's not as simple as a push of a button, but it is. Well,
if I watched enough TV in my life, it literally just says push this button, the world ends.
It's sort of it's a lot more than that, but at the same time, you will see a build up. If the world's going to end, you'll see the build up. You'll see the tension building. You'll see, there most likely be a war. I will guarantee you that.
You've seen Doctor Strangelove, right? There was a build up in that. It built up to the end of the world.
Yeah, but it wasn't like.
That's a great.
It didn't. It's not going to come about by an accident, by one guy going fucking mental. And I guess it could. It's not going to come about by one military general, whoever he was, going mental and then, ordering a nuclear strike and all of a sudden no one can contact these people to stop them. It's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be like, there'll most likely be a massive war, and either in the process of that war, or most definitely at the end of the war, maybe the end of everything, it could end with the final command to launch nukes, but that is a very extreme and drastic measure that I don't think we will see, at least for a few more lifetimes.
Well, what do you think is the most realistic way of the world ending, aside from the sun exploding, because that is realistic and will happen eventually, but
well,
in a few 100 billion years or some shit.
I think people tend to...
30 billion years?
I don't know. People tend to say, like, the world ending, or the end of the world, will, often coincides with the mass extinction of the human race. I think that those two concepts are very separate concepts, because it's quite possible that we will be completely wiped out before the world as such as we know it ends, or we could possibly evacuate Earth before it gets destroyed, and that still counts. To me, that counts as the world ending. The world ends when planet Earth is destroyed, and that's our world.
So not society as a whole, just...
No. Like, we could, like, look at like, this is gonna sound bad coming from films, but look at films like Mad Max, or things like that. Society has crumbled. Humans have mostly been wiped out because of mass nuclear war, or I think it was an oil crisis, wasn't it, in Australia? Something like that?
Yeah, there's something to do with nukes and
I think it was
gasoline. It depends what film you're watching.
Yeah, it depends. But think about that. Like, the world is in a dire state, but the world as a whole hasn't ended yet. If you want to look at a movie where the world does end, you could possibly look at, and this is a bit of a fast stretch, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where planet Earth is destroyed at the beginning of the book or the movie, whichever one you watch, or even the point.
Because we need that highway, people.
Yeah, that fucking...
We need more highways. Traffic is shit.
But there's also like, okay, because like if we look at it and go, the end of the world is associated with a mass extinction, then you could argue that for millions of bacteria each and every day, the end of the world happens around on a regular basis, because there are many bacteria colonies which are wiped out, ones that we never can discover. You could look at that and go for like the saber-toothed tiger, or the dodo. For them, their world has ended. But
not an ice age, it hasn't. Those shitty films.
Yeah. Haha.
Funny meme.
But that's what I could associate the end of the world with, and most likely it would just be the complete destruction of the Earth itself, or its ecosystem, would be the end of the world.
Okay, let's move on from the pessimistics and talk about more pessimistics in film and television. And what's your favourite film or television ending? And did it deserve it? I mean, I wish The Big Bang Theory would end, but it isn't, and it still hasn't, and they made a fucking prequel from it, and I want to die.
They made a prequel for...
Yeah, it's about Sheldon. It's like really kind of...
It
makes real life more depressing than it is.
Oh dear Lord. There's only so many Bazinga jokes you can make before the world just implodes on itself. Or reality itself. We're getting close to that final timer ticking down to the final Bazinga before we just have like a point of singularity created in that world. This is the final punchline will be the end of our society. Anyway, what was it? Let's see.
Well, they had a joke in BoJack Horseman season 4 where they were showing the future, and they had a poster for like the Big Bang Theory season 1200. I'm just like, you fucking kidding me?
I'm trying to think. Favorite ending in a movie and what's observed? I've not too many series. That's an interesting one. Definitely. This is going to be breaking the rules a little bit, I think. Definitely Twin Peaks. Like, the first season's ending was really... I think it was pretty good. Like, it pissed me off. It aggravated me.
It's taken us 50 episodes more than 50 episodes to talk about Twin fucking Peaks.
Like,
that makes me sad.
I know, like, the ending to the first season sort of... It had a bit of an aggravating effect on me at first, because, like, oh my god,
it's the classic cliffhanger ending, like, well, I mean, it probably...
Oh, it's a lot better than most cliffhangers in these nowadays, but...
Yeah, I mean, you have one of the main characters potentially being killed off, and all this other stuff happening, like...
All these loose ends.
Loose ends, yeah. Like,
but I look at that and going, that ending is pretty... It sort of... It fits well with the whole theme of the show, because it leaves you wondering, it leaves room for theories and people to speculate, like, maybe this happened, maybe You know, like, sort of make their own ending for themselves. And that is an ending that I think is done well.
But have you seen season 2 or the ending?
I refuse to watch season 2.
Why do you refuse to watch season 2?
Because I think that it's... I don't know.
It's one of the greatest
I don't refuse to watch it. I just actually forgot about it.
I watched it 3 times.
I gotta go back and watch season 2.
The past of the year.
But I think that season 1 ending was an example of a good ending. Like, where, yes, it leaves a lot of loose ends, but it leaves the right kind of loose ends. It leaves enough it leaves a lot of plot holes that you can fill in yourself. Plot holes that are left there by mistake.
And then if someone like me who's watched season 2's cliffhanger ending and season 3's ending, you're just like, season 1 is like nothing in comparison to the next 2 endings. And
the
last episode of season 2 was my favorite episode of TV.
And I'm getting into a bit of spoiler territory here. So Julia, I know you're listening to this. I know you're going to be editing this.
Yes.
Do the people a favour. Put a timestamp right here. All right, a timestamp right here to when I stop talking about this film. I'm going to be talking about the new Jigsaw film. Okay.
3 seconds. You're worried about spoilers for the piece of shit Jigsaw film?
Shush. There are people out there who will not want the ending spoiled. Timestamp here. Let them do their thing.
How current does this make? This is like one of the first episodes that's like so fucking current.
1. Right. Okay. So,
it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's okay, great. But
have you seen it?
I refuse to go see it, but I've seen a lot of film analysis.
I just watched YMS talk about it, and
I've essentially watched most of it through film analysis. But the ending to that is an example of the ending to most Saw films actually is an example of an ending not done well. Like it does deliberately. Each one has deliberately left the ending open to a sequel because they introduce it's just let's talk about the film as a whole. They introduce what's this? It's not actually John Kramer this time. It's another one of his fucking apprentices.
It's one of the reasons why I didn't really like the first Laser Team film, and yes, they are making a second one. But and I don't even know if I'm keen to see it, but still, the first one was so much of it. The ending was just like, oh look, now there are more aliens, let's go kill them. I'm like, couldn't this have just been in one film? Like, it's like watching Independence Day 2 and being like, wow, they're so desperate for a third one. Because that's literally the same ending as Independence Day Resurgence. It's, look, we now know where the aliens are, let's go kill them.
Yeah. It's just like...
Yeah, your budget won't let you, but sure.
And it's the same as
box office or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
And it's the same with with this Jigsaw film, this Saw film. Jigsaw is no exception. It's just the exact same thing again. Grand reveal. Because basically what happens is in the film it shows that it shows the game and people investigating, trying to figure out where the game is taking place. And it shows John Kramer being alive, and a lot of people looking going, oh, how's that possible?
He's the original Jigsaw, right?
Yeah, he's the actually Jigsaw. Right?
Yeah, flashbacks.
Yeah, it's like, how is he alive? How is John Kramer alive in this point in time? This is impossible. The grand twist at the end of that is that, what you see, the game you see taking place is actually 10 years earlier, before the original Saw movie happened.
Yeah, he looks so young, doesn't he?
And the investigation he looks so much young.
I have a criticism of the whole film. He looks so young, totally.
Yeah, but the investigation is taking place nowadays, and the explanation is that one of the guys who died, who supposedly dies at the beginning of the film, actually survives, is recruited by Jigsaw, and stay with me. He recreates the exact same copy of the exact same game
that nobody knew about.
Yeah, no one knew about this game. He recreated it again 10 years later, and his investigation happened for whatever fucking reason. He didn't have to do shit. He could have just left it as it was, but no, he had to recreate it again with different people, because they find where the game takes place. They find the new bodies as well as the original rotting ones. And I think he reveals he's one of the lead investigators. He's a forensic scientist or some shit like that. He reveals himself to our main protagonist and locks them in a trap where they can't escape, and Saw continues on forever and ever.
Yeah, there are some films that just need to end.
Yeah, it's just like that, and this is one of those occasions where they should have just ended it long ago. They should have ended at the first one. The first one wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. It was all right. They should have left it with that one, but nah, they didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of horror films like that. They're just like, let's milk it for as much as possible. But let's talk about a good ending to a good film or a good TV show. I mean,
Yeah, so
in my mind, I've got two good examples, which is even talk about final season wise would be Friends. Though its final season is shorter than the rest of them, I still think it's a good season. The only thing I think would be have been better would be if you know how they have the opening thing, the montage showing everyone, and then having their names and what pop up.
Oh yeah.
I would have preferred it if they had showed a clip from them from season 1 compared to now, because I'm very sure they knew it was the final season, so it would have been just good to be like, oh look, it's been a long, hard 10 years, let's compare the pair kind of thing.
Compare the pair.
And the ending to that is nice, it's subtle, and it leaves it open to, you could literally continue it if you wanted to, but you don't need to. And then they had Joey, which was crap, spin-off, and Parks and Recreation. One of, like, because everyone always talks about, like, Parks and Recreation and 30 Rock because they, were around this at the exact same time. But if you look at, like, in my opinion, the final season of 30 Rock it's okay, but the last episode is pretty kind of lame, but the last season of Parks and Recreation is fantastic. And the last episode of it, too, is very sad. So you had the same feel as Friends, in a way, even though this was 7 seasons and not 10 seasons. Yeah, still.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just like, I'm trying to think of good examples of endings in different series and all that.
Pulp Fiction's got an interesting ending.
Yeah, it does. I gotta revisit Pulp Fiction, actually. Just trying to think of an ending that's good. I know that, what's it called? This is an example of an ending that could have been good, but in the end was kind of shit because they decided against it, was I Am Legend. The ending of I Am Legend.
Yeah,
I think everyone knows about the whole, the whole fiasco with the, the ending you see in I Am Legend, the movie, they actually had a different ending.
They had an alternate ending,
which was actually
so much better.
Which was a lot better and actually ties a lot more to the book that the movie's based on. So that's an example of an ending that could have been good, where it has a lot more closure, it's a lot better, rather than just going out.
For general audiences, they're actually like, they made one for for all audiences, but especially smart ones, and because it relates to the book more, it was just a bunch better ending. But then they were just like, let's just go on for general audiences where everyone from one blows up. And
it was just like, it was a bit of a slap in the face, honestly.
But
it
was like Scott Pilgrim, Scott Pilgrim versus the World has its alternate ending, which even though I prefer the editing and the one that they left in the film, the ending, the ultimate one where Scott Pilgrim ends up with knives instead of with Ramona, is actually a much better ending because it kind of makes more sense in the story.
It's sort of like, and I think it's, I don't know, it has a lot more closure to it because it's like, Scott sort of, you see the character arc when he finally matures, in this ending at least, you see the character arc when he finally matures up and he goes back to his original girlfriend and he stops pursuing this girl because he realizes that, it's like, it's sort of really stupid and petty. But, obviously, test audiences didn't like that ending too much. So they went for the more generic ending where it's like, he gets the girl, no character arc at all, he just goes back to square one.
Yeah, it seems so pointless. Like, it's a fantastic film, and one of my favourite Edgar Wright films, but the ending just, it doesn't slam it completely. Like, I always used to enjoy it until I actually realised what a character arc was, and had read the comics 3 times over, and I say 3 times over because for some reason the comics, it's kind of forgettable in my head. Like, the comics are fantastic, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just so much of it,
Good ending. I'm trying to think of one movie that definitely has a good ending.
Will this show have a good ending?
Not likely.
Probably not, no.
Just trying to think of one. Nothing comes to mind.
Let's bring it to the next question, which would be, how does every film and TV show end?
Typically with like credits.
Yeah, of course the credits. But what really distinctly brings it straight to the credits?
Well, that's obvious. It's a cut to black. they?
Well,
Did
I mean, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
I thought it was a clever title. It's kind of clickbaity in a way, but they're not meant to know that yet.
Well, I mean, that's what you plan on doing on the season.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I planned. This was like a while ago because this is what's the date? It's November now, so this will come out in 2 days' time. And yeah, I know, like we're literally filming this 2 days before it's released. That's never happened for the Mindless Show before.
What is this, YouTube 2016 clickbait?
But the idea I've got is that, and I came up with this a couple months ago with a lot of topics and a lot of guests, and especially now that I've got uni, I know I've got a lot more friends. Like I had the question mark character from this show, I only met this year. So I met him before, like I met him whilst we were still filming season 3. And so I came up with the idea for season 4, which is actually called The Rest of It. And so it's not going to be, here's the topic number and here's what it's going to be and whatever. It's going to be like an actual podcast, properly. Like, it's still going to be a talk show kind of thing. Like, there'll be episodes where we have one big umbrella topic. So, like, you know, we have segments. So every month to 3-month period, we'll have a new segment. And so the first one we're starting with at the start of 2018 is comedy. So that one will have a whole big branching thing, and the comedy topic itself will be like an hour and a half or up to, because it's a big topic and we'll have a lot more people as well. So I figure, and of course calling the rest of it means that it's not exactly a season, because a season dictates an endpoint, you know, like any season does. That's why I hate it when someone calls a TV series like Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. No, it's Season 1, Season 2, because a series is a period of time. A series is the whole thing. It's an overarching thing. So the idea of the rest of it is literally, we're just going to keep filming episodes that we're going to really want to talk about and really going to enjoy, and we're going to focus on more comedy kind of stuff, because in reflection of season 3 was way too educational for my liking. Like, there were some really fucking funny parts, but there were also a lot of low points, and it's probably been the lowest season, or not just viewer-wise, but just like in general, it's been the lowest season. Especially morale-wise, like when we got to the first memes episode, it was just, I was tired of doing the show. So since then I've come up with a lot more different topics that are much broader in range and have like a whole lot of shit to it. And we're going to do some sequels to some sequel parts to some episodes in the first, second and third season. There's a whole bunch more to talk about. Because as much as Even my brother was saying, like, oh, you don't really need to make another season. I'm like, yeah, but there's no reason not to. Because even though we're not getting, like, I'm not paying anyone to be in the show, and I'm not getting paid to do the show, and even though, you know, we're in uni now, I've even got a job, like, all this, like, so much stuff has happened this year as it goes, that I still want to do it because, at least for telecreations audiences, they'll have something to watch, and it'll be something that hopefully is more interesting than what has previously gone before it. Yeah. And I feel like we should really, like, we released the quick topic for editing as well, which I don't think we'll do quick topics for the rest of it. I mean, unless it's a really interesting quick topic, but probably not. The editing one, did you watch the editing one?
Can't remember if I did.
It was about, it was me explaining to the audience how I edit an episode of the Mindless Show, or how a episode of the Mindless Show is edited by Julio. That was a bit too much of a quotation. And it showed Julio's escape. So Julio does not exactly exist anymore in the show. Kind of, not really. He never really did to begin with. It was just Faggot Face's joke saying like, oh, Julio's the editor, right? Yeah, because, you know, we can't say our actual name, so let's just make up one that refers kind of to the person who's actually editing it. Yeah.
They'll never figure out your name is actually
Yeah, of course. They'll never know.
Wouldn't it be really awkward if you just bleeped out what I said then, so they wouldn't know your name?
Of course. I mean...
And then they'll bleep out that one again, so they wouldn't know that your name was actually, yeah.
Yeah. See.
And then they bleep out you now, yeah.
Yeah, see, if they knew what my birth certificate said, it was on and then...
Yeah, like it's really awkward.
It's not even like asterisks.
They just have one really long...
hyphens. It's just all one name. That's literally the whole thing. What was the order again? You forgot the order. John.
heard it was
Of course, yes, that's my name.
bleep, bleep, and bleep. Even that was bleeped out. It's a bleep within a bleep. You know, going back to 2013 memes, bleepception, if you will.
Jesus Christ. What do you think? How do you think the show's actually come around in the long run? Like those 3 seasons.
I don't know. I like to see it like the sort of the circular motion of the Mayan calendar. One day it'll all come to an end, and it'll start over again, and then start.
Wow, your shoes blaze it, don't they?
What?
420. It literally says 420.
I don't give a shit.
It won't even show it on the camera, but it just says.
I don't care. It's in fluorescent yellow. It's by the brand. I don't know. I don't think it was sponsored. AB420. I don't know what that's fucking the brand is. Might be Nike. I don't know. There's a big N on the side. Whoever you are, AB420 with an N on the side of your shoe, sponsor this.
AB.
Some small company out there will fucking eat that up. AB. AB something, I don't know. Or is that NB?
One thing that is for sure for the rest of it is that Indigo Sparking will most likely persist. I mean, as long as we have someone who's not a familiar face, she's just going to go fucking mental. But yeah, we'll have new faces, we'll have old faces. Obviously, I'll still be here. I'm Mr. Mindless now. Of course, we've got Barry, who might return.
Yes, Barry. That's definitely
you should meet Mr. Bubbles. He's pretty great.
Yes, I would love to meet Mr. Bubbles. I have no idea who that could possibly be.
Yeah, of course.
In my life. I definitely don't know who that is. He sounds like a very, very handsome, young, smart, wonderful individual.
Oh,
definitely not stroking him off deliberately, but I don't know who he could be. Honestly, I've never met such a tall, handsome, muscular man before. Probably don't know who they are.
There will be more details soon about obviously the rest of it. Once I've fully fleshed it out, which I think I've almost fleshed it out. Like I've got the segments, I've got some topics and some guest handles for each episode. But yeah, I mean, even that show, it won't be regular release like this is. Like once we record an episode, because I'm thinking we'll record a few episodes like for the start of a month kind of thing, and then release them over the period of that month or months for the segment. And then rinse and repeat that kind of thing, but sometimes we might have to wait a couple of weeks or maybe a month or two until we can continue filming, so it's not going to be every week there's going to be a new episode. It's going to be whenever there is one, it's going to be hopefully a lot better than what we've previously done, because the third season did kind of become a bit too easy to make. Like the only real proper editing we did for any of them that actually made an episode distinct was probably the memes part 2, but that was just for the meme. Yeah, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, you'll see those really fancy stock swooping transitions now, and maybe if you're lucky, sparkle effects shooting across the screen with the title appearing. If
work doesn't get in the way for most people, then including myself, then we could probably actually film quite a lot more episodes, which is good. Yeah. Cool. I want to do one last thing before we end this. I gotta show these fuckers what Snoopy looks like.
Oh boy.
Trust me, it's fantastic. Oh, it's scary.
You're gonna get the dog?
I'm gonna get Snoopy.
Do I just get to don't just have to sit here in front of the camera? Oh, hi.
Just don't sit on.
Hi. It's now the Barry Benson show. Barry Benson boy. Hi, this is the first time I'm doing this by myself.
God.
Make sure to buy...
He's the exact same as he did before.
Oh boy.
Hi! He's so cute!
Hi, you.
Oh, you kids remember Snoopy? He used to be long-furred.
But now he is less skinny.
And she's still a bitch. She didn't get a haircut. Oh, she doesn't deserve one. But look at him, his tail is small and everything. It's scary.
Hi. Oh. Hey, you're...
He doesn't actually have any white spots except for his feet and his belly now, so you can hardly distinguish him in the dark.
Oh, trip over him in the dark, boy.
And he has a bit of things on his face, but...
Nice.
Look at him, he's adorable.
Aww.
Like, legit, this happened, like, last week, and I came home and I was just like, holy shit, do we have a new dog? Even though I knew what was happening, I still had to go to uni and do all that shit. Hello, little one. You're so cute. You're so warm and friendly. It's a warm day out. It looks warm.
Oh, look at him.
He's
He's like a little puppy again.
Yeah, he actually does look like a puppy. That's the strange thing. Like, he looks... Like, I think it was, my brother had posted a picture of him when we first got him and reshared it, and it was like 2 years later. And he's like, yeah, now he's a big monstrosity. And like 2 days later, he looks like this. And he looks exactly the same as he did when we first got him. He's just longer. And
a long boy.
a bit fatter and definitely a lot heavier.
Long tubby boy.
Yeah.
He's got an underbite too.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of dogs are going to have an underbite though.
That's like his distinct feature. Except for the fact that he sometimes puts on a scarf and a little headset and flies around. This weird fucking kid called Charlie Brown keeps stealing it. I don't know why.
Oh, right.
Hello, Snoopy.
I think we're legitimately you put a scarf, and I was sitting there going, oh, that's really cute. I want to see him, like, you know. And when you said flying around, I think like he's just like running around all over the place, just like, you know, running back and forth. But no, okay, you're making a joke, right?
Yeah. I hate dogs that have clothes on.
Oh.
So annoying. Hello, Snoopy. I mean, they have fur. That's close enough, isn't it?
So you like hairless dogs?
No, he's not hairless. I like dogs that don't have clothes on, like human clothes. It's weird to put human clothes on dogs. Anyway, we should end this finally for the season. So yeah, legitimately on a legitimate note, thanks for watching the season if you've watched any of it, or at least just this episode. Yes, the rest of it is a legit thing. We will continue the show. It will come back. Supposedly it'll come back in January of 2018. There will be a trailer and a Christmas special to come. The holiday special.
Like all good shows have a Christmas special.
Oh, it's not a Christmas special, it's a holiday special, because fuck Christmas. Am I right? Yeah.
Holiday specials are the best.
I mean, we filmed most of season 3 in December of 2016.
So we can promise you, we will get a higher rating on our Christmas special, or he'll get a higher rating on his Christmas special on Rotten Tomatoes than the Star Wars Christmas special. We'll guarantee you that. Yeah, guaranteed. Yeah. And guaranteed more indigo barking. Yes, more of that dog barking, less...
free holodecks.
And less commentary.
Less commentary. More comedy, we promise.
Absolutely, no plastic in our products. Completely 100% natural, homegrown beef.
Not reused.
Yeah, not reused.
Not recycled. Don't use a
free range, grain-fed, completely organic. Not genetically modified, completely free of any GMOs, homegrown videos.
I have no idea what he's talking about for a minute there.
Your dog appears to be rubbing itself on the carpet.
It is. He does that.
Are you comfortable down there? Being a cute little doggy?
He's a silly mutt.
Aww, look at him.
Who's a silly mutt? It's kind of weird when people look down on like pets and shit, or like even sometimes kids like have this little kind of kiddie voice, like, "Who's your good boy?" You know, like that's kind of weird, don't you think?
Do you think we should end recording?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Alright. Thanks for watching this season. We'll be back soon. You think it'll end, it isn't.
Oh, before you go, a little known fact, we don't actually move, he doesn't move from this spot. As soon as I get up, he actually stays here until the next recording. It's weird. He goes into sort of paralyzed like state, kind of stasis. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, like in my mind, I'm reliving old episodes of the Mindless Show.
It's really weird. Like I'll just get a message from some anonymous source saying go to his house now, and
go to Mr. Mindless, you mean?
Yeah, go to Mr. Mindless. Whatever his name is. Go to Mr. Mindless' house
now.
John
Jackson James, of course.
Yeah, John Jackson James' house. 3 Beeps house. Go to his house, and he will be ready for you. And I don't know what the topic is. I come in, I sit down. I actually walk through a door. That camera turns on automatically. I don't know how. He starts talking. I just sit down, and it's strange. It's really strange. It's
I mean, it
kinda
gets
scary.
weirder when it's not actually a topic. It's just hanky panky.
I've actually come back here when I'm not meant to be here, and I've seen him just sitting there, just in the same position he was when that camera stops recording.
Yeah. What you don't actually know is that this shirt and these pants are sewn up from behind. It's like a skin suit that just put around me.
Yeah, it's
Producers who are offset.
It's actually kind of scary.
The producers who don't actually exist. But
Yeah.
you don't know that.
Like, it's really kind of scary. These dogs aren't real. They're all really advanced robotic technology.
Sometimes when you see me and I haven't actually showered or shaved, it's because I've been left there for so long.
Oh yeah, because
I've gathered dust.
Yeah.
Just brushed it off my head.
Yeah,
Very ferociously.
Yeah. These two dogs will definitely ravage and eat my flesh straight from my bone, like pick off my bone itself. Once I am no longer of use to this this series, this one here is looking at me with a very wide grin, longing for the day it can sink its teeth into my flesh and taste my sweet warm blood as it drains from my body. And yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Bye.
I suppose I should do it because you can't move from the spot.
I feel like I'm glued.
Well, there's a reason for that. I just explained that, mate. You're not real. You're not real at all. Like I'm not even Australian, mate. I'm fucking Cockney British. You fucking shit me over here from England. So we do this shite and fucking show, and it's this fucking creepy ass shite that it fucking scares the shit.
Money.
Mate, I'm not taking your fucking £5.